Alright guys, the first CSS component we're going to look at in Bootstrap 4 are buttons, okay? Buttons and button groups. Now there's been quite a few classes added since Bootstrap 3, so we're going to go through, we're going to look at the different colors first, the different contexts. So we are in the file called 3_2_buttons.html, and we're at the start here. Okay, so we're going to start off with the different classes for colors. So for this button here, let's go ahead and give it a class. Okay, now all buttons need to have the BTN class. If I go ahead and save that, you'll see it'll turn it into this, which is kind of like a default button, just a gray background, some padding. And then let's say we want to change it to a blue color, then we can add in BTN-primary and save that, and now we have a blue button. Okay, same thing with secondary. Let's go ahead and add a class of BTN and BTN secondary. Okay, we'll save that, and that'll give us this darker gray background. Next we have our success button. So we'll say class, and we'll give it a class of BTN and BTN success. Okay, so that'll make it green. Then we have our info. Info is going to be a lighter blue, almost a teal color. Then we have warning. Okay, warning is going to make it a yellow color. We also have danger, which is often used for like delete buttons, things like that. So that'll be BTN danger, and that'll make it red. Now in Bootstrap 4 beta, we have light and dark. Okay, so these were just added. These were not available in Alpha 6. And these, let's go ahead and check them out. So we'll say class BTN, BTN light. And we'll save that, and it gives us this really light gray background. Okay, and then we also have BTN, BTN dark, and that gives us a dark, almost a black background. And then we have button link. I actually already had that in there, but that's just a button that's formatted to look like a regular link. All right, so for our buttons, we can turn links into buttons as well. So we have an A tag here. And all we have to do is give it a class, and we'll just say BTN primary, and now the link is formatted as a button. Okay, we can also do buttons with the type of submit, so you'd see this in a form. So again, we'll just do class primary. We could also do inputs with the type of button. We can also do inputs with the type of submit, which again you would see inside of a form. And then we also have reset buttons, which would reset the form. You can also add the class to that. Okay, so just some different types of elements that you can add button classes to. Now we also have in Bootstrap 4, we have the addition of these outline buttons, which are really nice. So what we'll do here is we'll add a class to this first one, and it's going to be BTN, and then BTN-outline, and then whatever the context or whatever the color. So let's say primary, that'll give us this blue outline. All right, so for this one here, secondary, let's say BTN outline dash secondary. Okay, that gives us this gray. Notice when we hover over it, it kind of fills it in and turns it into the regular button. So it's basically in reverse. So this one will do outline dash success. We'll do BTN outline dash info, which is a light blue. Let's do outline dash warning. BTN, this will be outline dash danger, which should give us a red outline. And then we also have light and dark. So let's say outline dash light. And finally we have outline dash dark. All right, so let's save those, and that's what this is going to look like. Now the outline light, you're going to want to use that on a dark background because we can't even see it since we're on a white background. So those are the outline classes. Now we also have sizes. Notice that this button here, I've actually included a Font Awesome icon just to show you that you can do that as well. So we just have an I tag with the class of FA for Font Awesome, and then the specific icon which we used which is FA User. So let's make this into a primary button. So we're going to give it a class of btn primary. And then let's make it a little bigger, so we can do that with btn-lg. And now you can see we have a large button. We can also do small buttons. So we'll do btn primary, and let's do btn-sm and save, and that'll make it smaller. We also have block level buttons, which will make it go all the way across, turn it into a block level element. So for that, we'll do btn. And let's make this a secondary. We'll make it a gray button. And we'll say btn-block. Save that, and now we have a block level button. Okay, we also have different states. So for the first one here, regular button, we're just going to turn it into a primary. But this next one here, let's make it active. So we're going to give it a class of btn primary, and let's also give it a class of active. So if we save that, you'll see it's a little darker than the regular button. We also have disabled. Okay, so we'll say btn primary, and then let's give it a class of disabled and save. And now you'll see it's lighter than both of these. It also is disabled. We can't do anything with it. All right. So let's see, we can also toggle the state. So for this button here, what I'm going to do is give it a class of primary, and then we can give it an extra attribute called data toggle, and we'll set that to button and save. And now you see that it's the light color, but if I click it, it'll go to the dark. So we're changing it from regular to active, and we can change it back and forth. Alright, so now let's take a look at drop downs, which are also really important. So first thing we'll do, you see we have a div here with a button and then a div with some links. So this div I'm going to give a class of drop down, and then we're going to give this button here, let's first of all make it look better. So we'll say btn primary, and we're going to add another class called dropdown-toggle. Okay, and then we need to give it an extra attribute called data toggle. Okay, data toggle is you'll see this a lot in Bootstrap. So data toggle, we're going to set that to the value of drop down. All right, and then for the div here, which is going to be our actual drop down menu, we need to give a class of drop down menu. All right, and then each link is also going to have a class of drop down item. Alright, so we're going to take that class and just put it on all of these. Okay, so we'll save it, and now if we click here, now we have a nice drop down. Okay, we can also do split drop downs. So basically we'll have a button group, so we'll give this div a class of btn-group, which can group buttons together. This first button, we're going to give a class of, let's say, secondary. Okay, so that's basically just a regular button, but then this one here, let's give this a class also of btn secondary, and we're also going to give it a class of drop down dash toggle. All right, and then let's see, we're also going to give it the extra attribute of data toggle since it's a drop down, and set that to drop down. Okay, and then down here we're going to do the same thing we did right here with the drop down menu and then the items. So what I'll do is just copy that and replace it. And we can also have dividers. So if I put another div here, and I can give this a class of drop down divider like that, and we'll save. And now we have this group. This is just a regular button, but this one is a drop down, and you see we have the little line, that's the divider. Okay, so let's do another button group, just a regular one. So we'll say class btn dash group, and each one, let's say class btn primary, and then what I'll do is just copy that class, paste it on those two, and save. And now we have a little group. You'll see that the edges are rounded of the group. The middle one is not, though. And you don't have to use all the same. We could put, for instance, a danger in here if we wanted to, and save. And now the middle one is red. Okay, let's make the last one warning. Okay, so we can mix and match the colors. Now we also have a button toolbar. So for that, we can have this div here have a class of btn dash toolbar, and then we can have multiple button groups. So this one would be btn group, and let's give it a margin right of 2, and then each one of these will make a primary button. Alright, so we'll just grab that class. Alright, and then this div here, let's give it another class of btn group. And we'll do margin right 2 again, just to push the next one over. Also give these a class of primary. And then the final one here, class of button group. Also give this a class of primary. Alright, so let's save, and now we have a button toolbar. Alright, and then the last thing I'm going to show you is a vertical group. So we can give this div a class of btn dash group dash vertical, and then each one here, let's just make into, we'll say, secondary. And save, and now we have a vertical group. Alright, so those are buttons and button groups, guys. In the next video, we're going to get into the nav bar.